Hello. In this video, I want to show how I created File Manager and how it works, basically. So first, I want to go through the Postman, my Postman calls. And then after we are done with this section, I'm going to step into the code and explain about my thought process. First thing first, we have 6 calls here, 3 post and 3 get request. First call is a create file. So as you see, create file, as its name explains, we insert file into the database. So this call has one parameter called input file. And we actually can come here and select the right file that we want to insert into our database. So if I go through my file, I'm trying to find a binary file. So file manager, source code, file manager is not here. Let's just go to the desktop and let's select my resume, for example. So when I open the file here, you can see that the file is selected and we send it. So we are not supposed to have breakpoints at this point, so we just like run it. And as you see, we get a message that the file has been inserted into the database and we get 201, which basically 201 here explains that a file got inserted into the database. When I go to SQLite and run this, you can see that, after March 23, my resume got updated here and just got inserted, and the version 1 of this file got inserted to the database. So if I run this again, what I expect to see is that I will get an error message because the file is already updated and got inserted to a database, right? So when I send it again, you will see it is 200. It is an okay HTTP request, but it gives us this message that the file already exists in the database and nothing got updated. The next step, I want to explain about update file. So update file, it looks at the database, and if the version of that file exists, it creates the new version of that file. So for example, in this case, as we can see in the database, the bird file is already has 2 versions here, 1 and 2. And when I press update, I expect to see the bird version of this file gets updated into the database with version number 3. So let's try it. So I do that, you will see that I get 201, which is everything is okay, and the new version of the file got inserted into the database. And when I come and run my query, here I see that the bird version number 3 got inserted here. We can continue to delete. And I come here and I say, okay, like bird, and I want to, for example, delete the version number 2 of that file, right? Because, for some reason, I don't want to have that version to be part of my history of that file. So when I do that, I get 200. It's okay. The file got deleted. And when I come here and I run this query, I expect to see this bird number 2 get removed from the database. So when I run it, you see there is no bird with the version number 2 in the database. So you might ask, what if we do not provide any version because we don't know the version of that file? So when this happens, the system is smart enough to go and find the latest version of that file and delete that one from the database. So right now, if I go back here, you see that version number 3 is here, but after I press send, you're not gonna see this entry in this area. So we do send 200, the file got deleted, and we come here, we run this, and the bird number version 3 got removed. So as you see, despite the fact that we did not provide the version for this payload, it was smart enough to basically goes and delete the latest version of this file. So far I covered these 3 calls, and then list files. It goes and gives us the name of all existing records in the database. However, if you have 2 birds or 2 versions of one file, it just shows you one of them. For example, right now I'm gonna go back and insert or update. Let's update bird. So we do that, a new version. Let's do this a few times and come run our query, and we see that a few versions of this file got updated here. So if we go to the list file and run this, we expect to see 1 bird, because it's just like this one looks at the all files and just gives us a distinctive, or we use distinct in that our link query. So in this case, you see that you will get all the files without their versions, right? So we'll see 1 bird here, and we should see 1 bird, and just version 1, like one of the versions. It doesn't care about 2 other versions. So there is another basically I created 2 other versions of list. This one lists all versions of a file. What that means is it goes and look at the bird, and it gives us how many versions that this file has in the database. So when I send that and I choose JSON, you will see that it gives us version 1, version 2, and version 3, and version 4 of bird in the database. And last but not least, here we have this comprehensive list, which in this case, it gives all the files with all the versioning that they have. So if I come here and say send, you will see that here it returned all the records with all the versions. For example, bird has 4 versions, and the rest of the files like tiger, snake, and others, they have 1 version. So all of them are listed here. So these are all calls, and this is my Postman collection. So in the next video, I will try to show what is happening in the code and my thought process.